What? Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om Shanti. Can't see behind the fold. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Peace inside my heart, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my heart, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Peace inside the earth, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside the earth, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 When there is peace in my mind, there will be peace on the earth. And so it is. Okay. We usually have an evocation here. So we can just go right into the opening song. Might as well. Since Moana's not here yet, I don't know. Gene, you want to do the evocation? No. Well, you can, and bring us into the service any way you want to. You could. I'll give you a microphone.
This mic one or two? One or two? It's left. Is this mic one? How about a microphone? Where is it? David's going to do a reading. Okay. I will welcome everybody here. Tell us one of your jokes. I don't know. You gotta put it down.
Yeah. Squeeze it down here. I got it. Yeah. That's quite nice. Is it on?
Yep.
Hello? Whoa. It's on. Good morning, everybody. It's a cool morning. It's a day to be cool. Yes. And here comes Reverend Mawata. No. Anyway, let's see. What do I want to share? I want to share something with you. And it's about friendship. It's about inviting your friends. You know, people ask me, well, Jean, how come you're always happy? And what do you do for fun? And I say, I go to church. I have fun when I come to church. And I love the camaraderie, and I look at this church as an institute of higher learning. higher learning. This is a higher education. Good morning, Reverend Muwata. Yes, yes. And
You can repeat that so Moana hears it, please.
this is an institution of higher learning. And, people ask, well, do you have a PhD? Do you have a master's degree? Do you have a bachelor? We are attending an institute of higher learning every time we come to church. And not only that, we are associating with people who are reaching out, fellow students of the universe. And the older we get, and I'm going to tell you, the older we get, and I'm going to be, 88, I think, this year? Yes, yes. And I recently had a bout with an illness, pneumonia, and I was hallucinating. I didn't know whether I was coming or going, but it's okay. I mean, whichever it was okay with me. It wasn't okay with a lot of other people, but with me it was okay. But I have recuperated. But in that process of being sick, I learned an awful lot. I learned that I am surrounding myself with useless articles in my home that I am never going to use, have never used, couldn't resist picking up because it was free or cheap. Such a deal. And every so often I like to watch The Hoarders on television. And my husband used to say to me, "How could you stand to watch The Hoarders? That's terrible." I said, "Because I never want to be one. I don't want to be one." And it influences me. And so after I recuperated from the illness, everything superfluous is leaving my abode. I don't need all of the stuff that I have. Anyway, it's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to share. It's wonderful to have a friend. Ronnie, welcome. Welcome. I'm so happy that you brought me today. You did me that service, and I appreciate it. And David, have I seen you before? Well, it's wonderful to see your face.
It is.
And Reverend
Thank you, Jane.
Muwata, it's just great. Oh.
Yeah, you can stay up there if you want to sing with me on
Sure.
this joy that I have.
Oh, shucks.
That's your
Give
favorite
me a
song.
microphone any day. Yeah. Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
This joy that I had, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I had, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I had, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This love that I have, this love that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This love that I had, the world didn't give it to me. This love that I had, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This peace that I have, this peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. One more time, the world. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Thank you. Thank you for staying up there. And I think we're on. David's going to do a reading. David's doing the Science of Mind. Thanks. Let's see if the mic sounds better. You know how to squeeze the trigger there? You're a little taller. You're taller than Gene, so you squeeze that thing. You got it. There you go.
morning.
Good morning.
And Happy Father's Day to all those.
Happy Father's
I haven't figured out how to include the mothers when they have to play the same role, all in one. One day I'm gonna come up with the answer. But for today. Sunday, June 15th, 2025. It's not easy being green. I wish for a world that views disability, mental or physical, not as a hindrance, but as a unique attribute that can be seen as powerful assets if given the right opportunities. Oliver Sacks. Everything that is of the nature of limitation is but the limits flowing through us at the level of our acceptance of life. Therefore, we are not fighting the evil with the good. We are merely establishing at a higher level the action of which is eternal and perfect. Ernest Holmes, Anatomy of Healing Prayer, page 20.3. In our attempt to encourage greater empathy, we may say, you can't really understand another person's experience until you walked a mile in their shoes. On the surface, we understand it. In practice, it seems more like sympathy. Either way, how many of us go deeper in understanding and practice? Do we understand how ableism and able-bodied norms affect millions around the world? If our goal is to co-create a world that works for all, should we not also be in deeper discourse with members of the deaf community? Those who use wheelchairs, are blind, non-developed, and more. Again, we're conditioned. The medical and cultural beauty standards exalt a certain body norm, and those norms relegate those who do not meet the prescribed norm to a lower level of recognition. Are they not divinely magnificent individualized incarnations of the one? And as that, do they not deserve what all of God deserves? Love, recognition, respect, dignity, celebration. When Kermit sings, it's not easy being green, he expressed the consciousness of non-life or framing comparisons. He says, when I think it could be nicer being red or yellow or gold or something much more colorful like that, we teach people to tolerate differently able people rather than to accept them. To varying degrees, we both judge and tolerate ourselves rather than accepting ourselves. By the end of the song, Kermit arrives at self-acceptance. I'm green, and it'll do fine. It's beautiful, and I think it's what I want to be. Join me in affirmation. I choose active acceptance of myself and others.
I choose active acceptance of myself and others.
Knowing that this active acceptance means I actively love.
Knowing that this active acceptance means I actively love.
Honor, celebrate, and recognize the divine sovereignty of all.
Honor, recognize, and celebrate the divine sovereignty of all.
Divine sovereignty of all. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Excellent.
One more song. I started singing this song, and it works so well with the reading. So just go ahead and do it. Talking to myself, I guess. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and all you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth. And all we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth. And all I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. And all we do and all we are is a blessing to the world. And all you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. You know, after that reading today, that Dave, I have a whole different view on this piece of music. It's much more wide, you know. So thanks for reading that.
It's always great to expand.
Isn't it though?
Am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Good. We won't. Oh, thank you. Would you hand me that? Because I'm going to need this. Oh, man. Good morning.
Good morning.
Man, I'm having an excellent opportunity to recognize my inherent wholeness today. You guys understand what that means, right? Yeah, that was about the same thing you were talking about. Yeah. Yeah, because she really was. Yeah, that's okay. Somebody wanted to. She wasn't here when you were up there, Gene. No, all right. So, boy, for those who were, he was with us. We celebrated Daniel's and Venus's wedding yesterday, and so we danced. I haven't really danced for a very long time, and so I was moving muscles I hadn't really moved for a long time. I was moving them vigorously. And for some reason I decided I had to really put my hands in the air like I just don't care. Mm-hmm. And I got a couple of rotator cuff injuries I'm recovering from, so I woke up this morning moving slow.
That's not the best part. I have to tell it. Daniel and Venus were texting back and forth with us for some of the last minute things. And Daniel said, "What's Reverend Mawatcha's theme song?"
Oh my God.
And I jokingly said, "Not like us." and I said, "Dun dun dun." And I said, "No, that's just a joke." He said, "That's not a great wedding walk." Daniel played that. He walked in to Not Like Us. So.
Yeah, that did happen. And that kind of took me off my game, because once that came on, then it kind of shifted a little bit, you know what I mean? Because I was all he wanted me into my head. Oh my God. Most of you have not seen this piece I have. It's this grand white bushka. I mean, what do you call it? Agbada. And it's white and gold with the hat and all this. He said, "No, wear that." And okay, I'll wear it. But then I'm decked, white shoes and everything. So I had to, I came in. I put on see, I'm starting to do it again. It's funny, now to start dancing, I can do it. It's when I stop. And so, yeah, but okay. But it was a good time was had by all. And so Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Yeah, happy Father's Day.
Indeed, we got to get that in. And I'm going to start with Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful and committed citizens
small group of thoughtful and committed citizens
can make a difference in the world.
can make a difference in the
Indeed,
world.
that's all that ever has.
Indeed, that's all that ever has.
And please know that we are citizens of love. If nothing else, citizens means to dwell within. A citizen dwells within. Thank you very much, Pranjali, my very intelligent way. I didn't know that. I mean, I used to like to say individuals. That's what I was reading, that individualism. But there's something beyond individualism, and we are in a paradigm of stretching beyond individualism. Individualism, I don't like to throw names around, but we label things so we know how to categorize them. But please note, everything that's in a category is more than the category that we put it into. You understand? I've been categorized, everybody here been categorized, and I know I'm more than every category they ever put me in. I'm more than everything I can describe about myself. I'm more than I know about everything because I'm one with the infinite. And so being one with the infinite means I'm always more than I can think. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
And so if I'm always more than what I can think, that means everybody's more than what I think they are and what they think they are. So when we start labeling and judging things, it's like we can categorize as much as we want to because it helps us organize our thinking. But never think our thinking is the final answer to any solution. Once we become wise, we stop thinking and we start listening for the wisdom. And this idea of what I see happening in the world right now is a rebirth of listening. And so it's not even a rebirth of listening. It's a challenge to thinking more than, I mean, let me go here. Let me get to my notes. I see I'm getting my Pure Anjali, she's my conscience in this particular day. She's like, when are you going to get to it? So, okay. Okay. I know. You got your point? Okay. Okay. Yeah. I was stalling until you got the poem ready, babe. In just a second. Title of the talk is It's Never Too Late and It's Never Too Soon. A Father's Day's Call to Healing and Liberation. And there's this quote by Alice Walker from The Color Purple. Said I wasn't going to do this, but said, everything wants to be loved. Us sing and dance, make faces and give flower bouquets, trying to be loved. I never truly noticed nothing God make. Not the color purple. Now that my eyes open, I feels like a fool. That's what happens when our eyes open, we realize how foolish we've been. Fatherhood as a freedom work, healing the father wound. Every Mother's Day, I talk about Mother's Day as it should be just International Forgiveness Day. So we can just get off it because we blame our mothers for everything. That's just the way it works. Mothers take a bad rap. It's funny though, they get the celebration when you see the football players, they always say, hi mom. And it's like, wait a minute. But Father's Day, there's something called a father wound. I think everybody has it to some degree, maybe some of us less than others. And so to me, this is a day for healing. Forgiveness and healing go hand in hand though, isn't that right? So I'm talking about the same thing just from different perspective. Fathering is not just provision, it is presence, permission, protection, and peace. Father wound is real. It lives in our bones, our stories, and sometimes in the silence between breaths. For some, it's the ache of absence. For others, the sting of emotional distance. For too many, it's the wound of harshness mistaken for love. And now, my dear wife, love of my life, Pure Anjali, has a wonderful poem. I mean, yeah. You're going to have to hold this part.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers present, all the fathers who have passed.
You're going to have to put this on, man. They're not going to hear you.
Okay.
You want to figure it out?
Am I on now? So there's a beautiful movie called Smoke Signals. Yeah, if some of you may know it, it's a beautiful movie. It's written by a native man, set on the Coeur d'Alene Res and in Idaho. And it is centering a story of redemption, of a father wound that is very deep. And a man goes on a very long journey, on a quest to bring back his father's ashes to his mother. And throughout that movie, what we get to witness is both the pain, the pride, and the sense of loss, and then ultimately redemption. And at the end of this movie, there is a poem that is narrated by the main character as he spreads his father's ashes over a river where they had fished when he was a boy. How do we forgive our fathers? Maybe in a dream. Do we forgive our fathers for leaving us too often or forever? Do we forgive them for leaving us when we were little? Maybe for scaring us with unexpected rage, or making us nervous because there never seemed to be any rage there at all. Do we forgive our fathers for marrying or not marrying our mothers? For divorcing or not divorcing our mothers? And shall we forgive them for their excesses of warmth or coldness? Shall we forgive them for pushing or leaning, for shutting doors, for speaking through walls, or never speaking, or never being silent? Do we forgive our fathers in our age or in theirs, or in their deaths? Saying it to them or not saying it to them? If we forgive our fathers, what is left? And I think that last question is really a profound one, because that is the inner work of all forgiveness. If we forgive, who are we now? What do we have left? And I would say we're a more liberated spirit. We are unbound by all those things that we held on to before we forgave. And so with mothers or with fathers, that sense of whatever that wound is, we have legacies, things that we can look to that we say are beautiful and wonderful, of a legacy from our fathers, our grandfathers, our mothers, our grandmothers. But legacy can also be pain. Legacy can also be wounds. And we can choose to carry that forward or not. And forgiveness is the pathway of letting go and releasing all of that. What do we have left? We have self, true self, when we forgive. So if you haven't seen that movie, I highly encourage you to find it. Smoke Signals. Yeah.
Thank you. You're going to need that later, so hold on to it. Okay. I love that poem. I love the movie, actually. It's by natives, for natives, about natives, and so we had to go see it, and it's very powerful. And it speaks to something that, this speaks to an overall theme. Because the reason why there's a father wound is because the father is wounded. And so the wounded father cannot raise a healthy child. Just like the reason why we're upset with our parents is because they weren't perfect for us. As simple as that. You say, well, it was more than that. I know it was more than that, but they weren't perfect for us. And they couldn't be perfect for us because that's impossible. Even if they were perfect for themselves, I have to be perfect for me. And so the healing of the wound is really about self-acceptance of who I am and what I am, right where I am. And the overall issue thing, I don't like throwing around labels. I started out talking about this. But the elephant in the room is patriarchy. It's a label. But it speaks to an omnipotent authority that governs everything and creates a circumstance where the many serve the needs of the one or the few. And we're all born into this. And to the degree that we assimilate into it, we find whatever success we can. But the thing that strikes me most about this is I was in high school when the revolution happened. It was a great time to be alive. I got to tell you, if you missed the 60s, you just missed the 60s, man. I mean, you can't, I mean, they're trying to get them back, but, man, and so, but what I remember about the women's liberation movement is that as a male, it also liberated me. Because once the stereotypes for women were lifted and women started demanding more autonomy for themselves, they broke out of their role, but their role had a role for me. And so when they broke the mold of that role, it also broke the mold for me. And so there was a simultaneous liberation. So liberation for one person is always liberation for everybody, because if one mountain in the range moves, then all the other mountains have to adjust to that movement. And that's the way that works. So right now, this is lots of things are swirling them around, You know, I don't really do a whole lot of political stuff, but there's so much stuff in there, I kind of feel like I got to address something. And so this idea that hit the words about no more kings. Well, that's an attack on patriarchy. Okay, and I understand that. We have somebody who is the symbol that they're talking about right now, but this goes deeper, way deeper. This is just a symptom. That is not the cause. It's just a symptom. So it's okay to treat this runny nose. It's okay to treat the sore throat. It's okay to treat the cough. But if you got something that'll cure the flu, that's what you really want.
What caused that? What caused that?
What caused what?
What the symptoms, that's what caused it.
Yes, that's what caused it. Absolutely. So the idea is to recognize, always remember who you are. Because if you don't remember who you are, then we run the risk of trying to wedge or force a solution that cannot be forced. Force is the problem. So if we force a solution, what's the quote Andra Lord says? He's like, you cannot dismantle the master's house with the master's tools. The Bible says if the blind lead the blind, they both fall in the ditch. If you fight fire with fire, just get a bigger fire. At some point, we have to recognize that we are the solution ourselves. That the battle we fight is not out here. And it's tough sometimes. I mean, it's just so easy to keep charging the windmills. I love Don Quixote's story. He's charging windmills thinking they're dragons, and he's in a fight for his life. But they're windmills. So many times we get caught up thinking we're right, going in and giving it up, but it's like climbing the ladder of success and realizing when you get to the top it's against the wrong building. I have notes. I want to stick to my notes because there's so many places I want to go. Man, it's also Juneteenth weekend. I've already seen celebrations all around. And that's about recognizing that freedom delayed is not freedom denied, that who you are is always making a difference. You know, if you take a piece of wood or whatever to the bottom of the ocean, its buoyancy will push it to the top. Okay? The buoyancy, the displacement law, the force of the water pushing it up is greater than the gravity pulling it down. I love this law of physics, that buoyancy means the force of gravity, the force of the water is stronger than the force of gravity in this particular solution. Are you with me so far? So what we want to recognize is that there's a spiritual buoyancy. In the spiritual buoyancy, in the world of spirituality, the more I practice my oneness with the divine, the stronger the force that lifts me up is than the forces that I believe are pulling me down. As a matter of fact, the more I practice my spirituality, what happens is I recognize there is no force that can pull me down except my own mind, my own imagination, and I can create my own dragons, my own windmills, and charge them and be in fights for my life when my life was never in question. But I might even lose my life in a situation. I mean, I'm not talking about physically. I lose my life in the fight against something that's not even there. Are you with me so far? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Deep healing starts here with you, with me, with us, with witnessing it and becoming what we never received. This is what we have to become the father we never had. If you had a great dad, then be a better one. I have to be honest, I had a lot of criticism from my dad until I became one. I had to call him up one day. Now I got a wife that won't listen to me. For some reason I thought she was supposed to. You know, that's what the patriarchy told me. She's supposed to listen to you. Well, they forgot to tell her that. Not Pure Anjali, She always, this is a long time ago. I said, Dad, you know I don't agree with everything that you've done. But at least now I understand the pressure you were under when you made those decisions. Sometimes you just get overwhelmed by the circumstance of life and you're fighting something that's not there. How can you win? You're bound to make mistakes. The crazy thing is I talked to my mom later on, like 20 or 30 years later, and it's after my dad's passed away. And I talked about that phone call. And she said, was that what you said to your father that day? I said, yes. Why? She said, because I was in the room with him when he took that phone call. And when he hung up the phone, he was crying. And I said, William, what's wrong? And he said, my son isn't angry with me anymore. And when she told me that, that's when I realized he knew. He knew. See, I wasn't going to say anything about it, but I was never going to ask him for anything ever again in life, as long as he lived. I never said that out loud, so you don't have to say anything out loud. My actions speak for themselves. Our actions speak for themselves. I'm just going to tell my business here and give Piranjali her flowers in this particular one, because I have all the platitudes in the world. I've been studying this for 30, 40 years now. I know how to say what needs to be said in the right situation and assume the right position because I've been practicing. And sometimes I'll say something to Piranjali about something about God is all there is, or some kind of oneness, gobbledygook. And she was like, well, that's not what I see. I don't see you practicing that. I hate it when you do that. Because there should be evidence of who you are. If you squeeze a grape, you get grape juice. You squeeze an apple, you get apple juice. You squeeze me, consciousness is supposed to come out. That's who I see myself as. That's the role I'm playing. And if that's not happening, then I need people in my life that are letting me know, dude, that's not what you're showing us right now. And so rather than being mad about it, which sometimes I am, oftentimes I am, but the trick is to learn from it, to grow from it. And that's the opportunity in life, was always to learn from things and grow from things. And we're in a circumstance right now where learning and growing is required. If we're to proceed and evolve into who we are and what we are, we can't be distracted by windmills. And I'm not saying people who are protesting with no more kings are chasing windmills. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am saying that. But I'm not saying protest is wrong. Okay? But I'm like Dr. Holmes said, I want to be for something and against nothing. I am for consciousness. And consciousness includes everything. Consciousness includes people who do want a king. See, you got to remember the country that we're in right now. We had a Revolutionary War because some folks wanted not to listen to a king. But some folks did, right? So we fought that war and we thought that war was over. And then they created a whole new world. And we had to have another war because people didn't agree with the way things were governed. And those wars never stopped. War never stops because we are conflicted inside. Why? Because we don't know who we are. And we don't know who we are. We keep signing, well, where do I fit in? And so the loudest voice often wins. And in a system where force is required, this is what patriarchy is about, you will comply. You must comply. Or something bad will happen to you. So the opposition to this idea started creating their own something bad will happen to you. We didn't have the police to go get people, but we could cancel you, you know what. And now you're in obscurity. You just, boom. Yeah, draw a line through your name. I know about that. Just draw a line through your name and you don't exist anymore. Wipe you from the face of existence. This is a powerful weapon. This goes beyond a boycott. Boycott was a good way to gather rights. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I remember that Cesar Chavez thing, man. I lost some friends because I didn't know I wasn't supposed to eat grapes. You know, I found out in a hurry because I just moved to Berkeley, and I went to the store and bought some grapes, and you know, I said, oh, okay. I think that's an effective tool, but cancellation, to me, that's another way of forcing the issue. Well, you say the boycott's the forcing issue. Well, no. I think it's a little bit different. That's a distinction at least. The point I'm making is, where is my power? There's a difference between power and force. My power comes from my inherent divinity. My power comes from my sense of self. My power comes from my sense of worth. My power comes from my realization of wholeness. My power comes from the understanding that I'm connected to all things and I'm part of this thing right here. It's not separate from me. What's happening in the United States, what's happening around the world is not separate from me. And if I spot it, I got it. If I can see it happening in the world, it means it's part of my own experience. And when I can get to the place in my own awareness where this is not happening, then I then that's when I'm affecting the change I want to see. But that doesn't mean I don't do things about it. But I go to a protest with the realization that I'm one with that which I'm protesting. I don't have any enemies. I refuse to have an enemy. I've got some very good reasonable facsimiles of enemies, but I'm too wise now to call them that. I know that everything in my life comes to serve me. Everything in my life is an ally to my being. They're here to unfold, to unwrap, to reveal the greatest expression of myself, but I have to unwrap the package myself. The wrapping paper is rage. The wrapping paper is lack. The wrapping paper is limitation. The wrapping paper is pitiful injustice. All of these things. But guess what happens on Christmas? The kid doesn't care what you wrap the gift in. They know the gift is for them, yes? No? Yes. I mean, how many think, I don't want to open that gift. The paper's too ugly. No. Everything comes to serve me. Everything comes to serve me because I know that everything is part of who I am. So, yes, we're going to take to the streets. Yes, we're going to go to the polls. Everybody's doing what they think they need to do to affect a change. But I am saying right here and right now, whatever system you use to affect that change, it's time to heal the father wound. Because the father wound is the wound we have with patriarchy, and patriarchy is the system in which we're raised. And if we don't have peace within that system, in our own being, if we don't have peace within our own being about that, then all we can do is take that same energy because we've been steeped in it and use it. What we call out here. So what we're doing is amplifying it in here because I'm projecting it to this outward thing. So we're in a vicious cycle. That Sisyphus trying to push the rock up the hill and it's rolling back down again. Are you with me so far? Okay. I'm going to take that for a yes. I love this idea. You don't have to become the man your father was. You get to become the one your inner child still longs for. This is universal. This is why we don't want to take to the streets without knowing who we are. I had a situation, and some people, you have to realize it's their intention to keep violence in the world. That's just the way it is. I've been invited to protests where they want me there because they know I'm standing for peace. I said, okay, I can do that. We want you there because I know you stand for peace once and we want to have a peaceful walk. Okay. And I'm at the walk and I'm walking, but I'm noticing people are showing up with hoods and masks and they look like they came for battle. So now I know I have to pray deeper, you see, because now I'm starting to get nervous. And that's how you always know it's time to pray. When you start feeling nervous, when you start getting scared, when you start getting angry, when you start getting agitated, when you're feeling anything other than oneness, it's time to return to the oneness. Yes? When I feel anything other than oneness, okay, that works. I try to repeat this. When I feel anything other than oneness, it's time to return to the oneness. This is the formula. This is the formula. Now, I feel stuff all the time. But that's like an alarm. I like to think about it as like, when you drive your car, you got your gas light or your gas gauge. You might drive your car till the gas light turns on. I don't suggest you do that. But if you do, you still have a few miles to drive your car. Isn't that right? Alternator light might come on. You might be okay. But if the oil light comes on, you pull over. You don't mess with that, you see. John says, probably too late anyway. And to me, when I find myself not focused on the oneness, that's the oil light of consciousness. It's saying return to source. When I find myself getting aggravated, agitated, afraid, return to source. My body starts to ache. I'm dealing with, I had some challenges with my hands yesterday. I'm at the wedding, they're shaking, but I was grateful for the shake because just before that trigger finger flexed in this thing right here and it was like stuck. And I hate it because Fred Sanford used to do it as a joke all the time. I didn't understand the joke, but I get it now. And I'm like, oh my God, and I'm just praying for my hands. And they straightened up and said, well, your hands would be shaking. I'm like, I was grateful they were shaking because that meant I was holding on to that piece of paper when I couldn't hold on to it before. There's always something to be grateful for. And if gratitude's not in your heart and gratitude's not in my heart or in my mind and in my mouth, then it's time to return to source. So it's always an opportunity. I'm loving the Gratitude Cafe used to be a place here, and it always asks the question, what are you grateful for today? Do you have something you can say you're grateful for? The second point is dismantling the old scripts of manhood. Let us retire the myths that confuse domination with dignity. I like that part right there. We don't want to confuse that. Masculinity is not meant to conquer, it's meant to contribute, create, and connect. The most divine men I know cry freely, love fiercely, apologize when they get it wrong. And quite frankly, I just apologize. I don't have to apologize when I'm wrong. Why wait till you're wrong? You're out of practice. You know how long it takes to convince you that you're wrong? I'm talking about myself here. You know how long it takes to convince me? I ain't talking about you. Nobody told me your business. But you understand what I'm talking about, right? I can go a long ways before I'm wrong. I might go years before I'm wrong. I mean, actually wrong. Because I take the steps to make sure that I'm wrong. The only time I'm wrong is if I miss something. But act like I can't miss something. Right? I miss stuff all the time. Because we can't see everything, we can't know everything. This is why we don't want to think, because thinking is finite. Thinking only covers what I'm aware of. That's what I can think about. Wisdom is beyond my thinking because it incorporates the universal. It uses my intuitive expanse, if you will. It's the deductive rather than the inductive reasoning, where one goes from part to whole and the other goes from whole to part. We go from part, we get a little piece of information and then construct a whole picture out of it. The divine has the whole picture and particularizes it in us and through us and as us. Well, I want that particularization. You follow me? So I have to let go of all the things I think about. I got into it with one of my minister friends. He's talking about people thinking about this and thinking about that. I responded, I teach my people to think as little as possible. He's like, how can you tell your people to think as little as possible? What, blah, blah, blah. So I'm thinking to myself, why are you still telling them to think? It's a limited paradigm, people. It keeps this, it's the hamster wheel. It's the hamster wheel of consciousness. Just get on there and start thinking about stuff. We can keep thinking over and over again and never come to a resolution. And when we get one, the resolution is flawed because it has limited data. One of my favorite Rasulisms is always go with the highest consciousness in the room. And the second part of that is never assume my consciousness is the highest one. And the third part is, in fact, be convinced, be sure that my consciousness isn't the highest one. See, this stops me from telling people what I think. Because I think I'm smart. We just had this conversation this morning. We're both smart people.
There's an adage that says, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So you could also apply that. If you think if you're the highest consciousness in the room, go to another room.
And I would say, if you're in the highest consciousness in the room, sit down and be still and listen. Because it doesn't matter what room you go to. Eventually you start feeling like you're the smartest one. And even if you're with people who know more stuff than you, who have more technical experience than you, you sit there and pick it apart and come up with one little place. This is what I do. Maybe you don't do this yourselves. But I'll find one little place where I thought, well, they're wrong about that piece right there. Everything else they said in this presentation was right. But that piece right there, I was wrong about that. Nobody talked to me about it, though, so let them think it. I don't care. I got you on that one, Greg. See, this talk is just for you, Greg. It's not for me. I'm sacrificing myself. Father's Day is a great day to heal this wound, this patriarchal thing that we've all been raised in, and we all have a relationship with that affects us in one way or the other. And the realization of wholeness understands that even in wholeness, this has a place. See, we cannot ostracize people who require this for their safety and existence. But at the same time, we don't have to allow their need for that to interfere with my own sovereignty, my own dignity, and my own self-expression. So how do I balance these things? How do I live from this place of wholeness? Are you with me so far? Any suggestions?
One breath at a time.
One breath at a time is how we do it. Absolutely.
Forgive immediately and often.
Forgive immediately and often. And that's a high mountain. That's a steep climb. But one breath at a time, one step at a time. It's about the embrace of wholeness and otherness. Recognizing there's no separation in consciousness. There's no separation. We are all in an ecosystem here. We're all breathing the same air the dinosaurs breathed, recycled. There's no new atmosphere coming in from the outer space. And even if that would be part of the whole, because we're inside the space that the outer is in. No, we're in the outer of space. How do you say that? You're foiling me on this, yes? You say, well, the plants regenerate the carbon dioxide, and so we got this recycled thing. Yes, but it's a closed loop, people. We're all in this together. Repeat. We're all in this together. Repeat. We're all in this together. It's everything. All of life. This is the wisdom in the room that thinking can point to, but not be. Do you understand? You can have the map of the territory, but it's not the territory itself. Thinking is the map. But if you haven't been across that terrain, then you don't know it.
Our thinking creates an illusion that we understand a thing, that we reduce it to a simple thought.
Yes, reduce it to a simple thing. One of my gifts is taking that absolute and breaking it down in bite-sized thinking pieces for people to chew on. And this, when I finally got religious science, I said, oh my God, Dr. Holmes has created a cookie of consciousness, a cookie, that when you chew it, you salivate consciousness. And I said, oh, this is the stuff here. You chew on this idea called the science of mind, the oneness of life, the wholeness of everything. If you chew on that for a while, consciousness evolves within me. But it starts with the realization of wholeness. Every protest starts with the realization of wholeness. Every activity starts with the realization of wholeness. Every healing starts with the realization of wholeness. The doctor has to treat the whole body or other symptoms are going to happen. That's what the problem. We have medical situations. We're treating symptoms. There's holistic healing that we're getting into it now. There's a pushback. Everything that's holistic, that identifies the whole, is going to have resistance from the limitation of thinking, because thinking is the paradigm that has been dominant for a very, very long time. But guess what? Consciousness is beyond dominant. It includes dominance as part of its own being. Are you with me so far? I don't have to be afraid of somebody who thinks they're dominant. I'm always dominant, wherever I go. I don't care how big they are, how bad they are, what the odds are. One with God is always a majority. And so when I'm afraid, I'm grounding myself. I'm grounding the fear. I'm grounding that which I'm afraid of. I'm recognizing that I'm one with this. And this is why the scripture, the 23rd Psalm says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Why is this? Because I recognize I'm not separate from this evil that I'm supposed to be fearing. And then when I address what I think is wrong with me, it gives me the courage to face what I'm seeing out here, because I'm knowing I've resolved my inner conflict and I'm not in conflict out here. And things happen. Things happen beyond my thinking process. What I want us to know how to do is get beyond the thinking process. Whatever we're doing in the world, do it from a place of oneness. Do it from a place of consciousness. Do it from a place of, you know what? I'm recognizing that the reason why my daddy wasn't there is because he didn't know how to be there. And sometimes, whoa. Okay, I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't mean it. Yep. When I separated from my first wife, I had opportunities to travel, get better jobs, better connections, do better things for myself. But I thought about my old daddy. It's funny, after he died, he wasn't my father anymore. He started being daddy again. I became the little boy with my relationship with my dad. And I realized, you know what? I thought of him sometimes as a low-down, dirty, no good, but he kept a job. But he'd be on Skid Row, but I knew where he was on Skid Row. I knew if I went down there and went into Q's barbershop or the Shalimar, the Domino Shack, he was in one of those three places. And I'm telling you this because if I leave my children here in the Bay Area, then I won't even be as good of dad as mine. And we are being called to be better fathers than the ones we had. We're called to be better men than men we've ever known. We're called to be better beings than we've ever been before. We are being called. We are being called by the infinite, indwelling, and self-existent one to come home. Come home. Man, what's that old hymn? Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. Come home, come home. Ye who are weary, come home. And I know you're tired. You've got to be tired. There's a place of rest. Consciousness. It doesn't mean I don't have problems anymore. It means I know what to do with all the problems. I'm not going to think about them. That's for sure. I might come up with a solution through my thinking process, but I'm always letting my inner wisdom guide me. I'm always listening for the deepest silence. Always listening for the deepest silence. In that stillness, that's where wisdom comes. That's where vision happens. That's where connection is. And that's where our solution is. Because the solution is always wholeness. Are you with me so far? Very good. It's also Gay Pride Month. You know, Juneteenth, Gay Pride, and No More Kings, this coalescing, it's a powerful time to be alive because this is a people. It's transformation. It's happening. You're in the midst of a birthing process, and birth is messy. Have you ever been to a delivery room? It started out as a sterile environment, but it gets messy in it. Birth is messy. And we are birthing our greater spirit into existence, and it's not happening out there. It's happening in here. And if you've ever been around that birthing process, and one of the things that happened in the 60s with that women's lib movement, that happened as men started being part of the birthing process. This was a new thing. It never happened before. We could wait someplace else. We could be at the bar smoking cigars, whatever. They call you and tell you what kind of kid you had. Oh, great. I just had a boy. Yeah, another round for the boy. No, you're not getting away with that anymore. Now we had to take Lamaze classes. If you're a real man, if you're going to be a real dad. See, they upped the ante on fatherhood there. See, everything, he broke the mold. Okay, I took the classes, and I learned a thing or two. I know one thing. To birth a child, you have to breathe properly. It's a very meditative experience. And my job as a coach is to help her breathe. Because she's going to get so confused by what's happening inside of her body. Her hormones are raging, going every which way. The kid is punching and kicking his way out. She's in pain. They're cutting her. Oh, literally, got scissors. I'm like, ah! And my job is to maintain the equilibrium and help her breathe. But that's hard, see? Both of my daughters were like 22 and 23 hours of labor. And during that time, whatever frustration my wife had with me came out. It was hell. Stand up, sit down, go away, come back. You're chewing your gum. Don't chew gum. Go get me some food. I don't want food. I'm thirsty. No, I'm not thirsty. Woo, 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 woo. I'm just trying to be a good guy here. And then it hit me, dude. You're reacting. You've forgotten your training. I mean, after 23 hours, it took me. I guess it was my just comeuppance. And finally, I said, that's enough. I said, you have a contraction come, because I've been doing my job. I've been timing them. You understand? But I'm distracted. I said, you got a contraction coming in 9, 8, 7, 6. She looked. I said, 5. She said, 4. And I said, and the contraction, she started breathing. I said, we're going to breathe the way through this now. Now we're going to do it this way. We've already tried it our way. That's why I don't want to listen to me. I'm smart enough not to listen to me. I want you to be smart enough not to listen to yourself. You have to be able to look in the mirror and say, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. And then wisdom can step in, you see. As a young minister, I'd always critique my talks. I still do. But I have a different understanding of what I'm looking at now. And I'm thinking about the things I should have said, and I should have said this differently, and I'm going over, okay, because I'm going to make myself better, see? And the voice spoke to me one day when I was doing this. It said, are you critiquing my work, boy? You got God talk to you in a language you understand, see? And then the voice said, oh, I get it. You still think those people came to listen to you. He said, you're right. You did suck. And that's why I'm glad you finally shut up. And I could get a word in edgewise. Okay. See, now some people don't get it like that. Maybe I can say this to you and that will be enough. And you can say, okay, I'm going to start listening closer. See, because what the voice will tell me, you need to listen more. Stop critiquing your talk and listen to what happened. Michelle Stivers, one of the oldest, dearest members we have here, God bless her. She asked me for a tape one day. A day I knew I was horrible. I want a tape from last week. Last week? Well, I've already corrected everything from last week in this week, you see? Why would she want last week when I was horrible and I was so good this week? She wasn't here last week. I mean, you want this week? She said, no. You weren't very good today. Last week you were good. And then she looked at me, she says, she's one of my mentors. There's always an older woman or a woman that's, she's an older woman now because I'm an older person too. But when I was a younger person, you understand there was a dynamic there that I listened to. And she's one who's risen to that prominence. Jean's one who's risen to that prominence. And so we're here. And she says, you don't know when you're good. I'll tell you when you're good. You said just like her. You don't know when you're good, Rev. And I realized I'm never good. I get nobody's coming to see me. Oh, I'm a pretty good performer. But there's something coming through me that activates what's inside of all of us. And we're all having this experience together. I'm just the one up here making a fool of himself while we have this experience called consciousness unfolding. And since I'm good at making a fool of myself and I don't have a problem with it, I actually enjoy it, God said, that's why I picked you. I need a fool, boy. I need a fool. That's why I liked your reading, David. Embrace who you are. If you suck, embrace the suck. Stop trying. This is what I like about gay liberation and the black liberation. Take the words that hurt us. James Brown says, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Changed everything. Don't have to fight you because you call me black no more. Thank you for the compliment. You dang right. Now, instead of being ostracized because I'm too dark, I'm actually getting ostracized because I'm too light. I'm still stuck in the middle because I'm thinking, yeah, I'm over here with the darkies. And they're like, no, you're not. I can always feel rejected. I have to accept myself. There's a brother on loan, Renokio Rashid, who looks for black people around the world. I'm in this group. I'm asking all these questions about consciousness. Guess what? They booted me out the group. Because consciousness is not what was happening there. Just blackness. Now, blackness is not separate from consciousness. But you can have black people that aren't about consciousness. You can have left wing, right wing, gay, straight, progressive, conservative, whatever group you're a part of. There's always going to be that group that thinks this is the way and that group that thinks that is the way. And you have to be the one that recognizes that you are both of these ideas. So you don't try to fight one so the other one can gain dominance in your own mind. We're the peace of the planet, people. We're the vanguard of peace on this planet. We're here because we're difference makers, and we cannot make a difference charging windmills. Look how long we've been fighting wars against one another. Look how long we've been fighting wars against domination of one kind or another, only for, like in Animal Farm, that great book by George Orwell, where the animals revolt on the farm and kick the farmer off the land. Talking about all he does is play cards, smoke cigars, and drink whiskey. And while we do all the labor. And when the book ended, the pigs had taken over. And they're in the kitchen, smoking cigars, drinking whiskey, playing cards. One system replaces the other, and it's the exact thing over and over again, unless consciousness is at its heart. Systemic is the word. Systemic is the word. So are you with me so far? Gay people said, you know what? We're queer. We're here. Get over it. I'm owning it. I'm gay and I love myself like this. You're just not happy you ain't gay. I got to admit, I said, well, how did they get the word gay? How did they get to own the word gay? And the rainbow. Had to let it go, but it did come up. The divine is in all of us, practicing oneness in diversity. Juneteenth, Father's Day, Gay Pride are not separate stories. They're part of one great story, the journey of the soul towards liberation and belonging. As a spiritual community, we affirm that my queerness is holy, my blackness is divine. My fatherhood is sacred, even if I'm still learning how to live it. Now, when I got this, I'm working with the computer on this, and it came up with your queerness is holy, your blackness is divine, your fatherhood is sacred. But since I know I'm all of these things, I'm not separate from anything, I say my, because it's always about me. We teach in spiritual mind treatment to always speak first person present tense. Pray first person. It feels disjointed sometimes for people to hear. Pierangeli is really good at this. I don't do it as well as her. She's really good at staying anchored in first person and just saying, I. But I recognize some people think I'm talking about myself because I kind of show up like that guy more than she does, so they get it that she's not talking about herself. When I do it, maybe not so much. So I'm always working in what's true for me is true for all of us. What's true for me is true for all of us. But it's always happening to me because I'm the only one here, because there's only one of us here. And the only one that's here is the divine presence operating through me, in me, and as me. Through me, in me, and as me. Showing up as me. So this is where my healing is. This is where the difference making is. This is where my profundity shows up. This is where the wisdom shows up. And this is where thinking won't help me. Thinking will disagree with consciousness. Because it can't imagine that what consciousness just said is true. That's ridiculous. Thinking was like, you guys know the story when I was surrounded by the people threatening my life. And I said, okay, God, there must be a plan. What am I supposed to do now? And God said, go to the phone. Okay, maybe we got just a bad connection here. Have you looked down here? I don't even believe in the God in the sky, okay? But now I'm like, have you looked down here to see what the heck is going on? Because I don't think you've properly apprised yourself of the situation. Because that's horrible advice. I can't go anywhere. They got me surrounded. You know what the voice said next, right? Go. That's what happens. Slows it down. Go to the phone. I know I'm not getting nothing else now, see, so here goes nothing. I took a step forward. These young men opened the circle to let me out. Well, I'm not looking back. I'm going to the phone. I got to the phone, I picked it up to call the police. When I picked up to call the police, I see the young men running across the street from my back window, and the voice said, I didn't tell you to call the police. I told you to go to the phone. I went to the phone, and it resolved the conflict. I was in the way. There was a miracle about to happen. I was in the way. Somebody owed those boys money in an apartment. I'm in charge of security here. This is a halfway house. I'm on duty. I can't let them bust in there and maybe beat this man to death. Actually, I could, and that might have been the smart thing for me to do. But I always think I'm what? The authority. And it's my job anyway. So I'm standing my ground. Got you on there, now, Fred. God said go to the phone.
You're the last defense.
Yes. By me going to the phone, those men did exactly what they came to do. They broke in the apartment. The guy they're looking for is 20 feet down the hallway, cowering for his life. He probably only owes them $10 or $15. I'm sure they didn't give him any more than that. But they looked around, they saw some V8, some tapes, and a boom box, and some things. They said, well, just take this stuff. And they took the belongings and left. That's when I realized, my God, I'm standing here trying to catch a beat down for nothing. But I realized when they were surrounding me, this is not my epitaph. This is not my day. I didn't come all this way to leave here on the streets of East Oakland on a humbug. I didn't come all this way to lose my mind in a protest when I've seen this movie before. I've seen things happen in a very good way, but it always happened from consciousness. Gandhi's success came from being the change you wish to see. Be that change. Martin Luther King came with the same idea. We got to be the change. Teaching people to sit at the lunch counter without reacting to the violence with violence. Because that just begets more violence. And I had to say, and I was a Malcolm X guy, by any means necessary. I'm still pretty much him. But what I've seen is the most effective thing. The most effective thing is coming from a loving place that's inclusive. And I want to be effective, not vengeful. And there's a difference. Some of us don't really want justice. Some of us don't really want peace. We want revenge. We want to make the evildoers pay. We want people to get what's coming to them. But none of us wants to stand in the line that says, if you stand in this line, you're going to get everything that's coming to you. I know I don't. I got away with too much crap in my life. If I have to take my just comeuppance for everything I got away with, then no, thank you. Ali, outs and free. Everybody's getting a free pass here because I recognize I've been given a pass. I've been blessed. My life has been spared. My life has literally been spared. So I'm not here to condemn anything. I am here to bless everything. Black people learn to bless themselves. We claimed our blackness. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Okay, good. That's good stuff there. I'm queer, I'm here. Get over it. Everybody's claiming their turf. That doesn't take turf away from me. That's their turf. I can have turf that includes their turf. Wholeness. Oneness does not mean sameness. It means we recognize a light in each unique expression of God. Let us remember the divine feminine and the masculine both live in each of us. To heal the father wound, we must honor the balance inside ourselves and the world. So it begs the question that Jesus asked the man at the pool of Bethesda when he was laying on his mat. The pool of Bethesda was a watering hole, a place where people would come. And the story says, I guess they come there for water, but the story goes that an angel would come like once a year, once a whenever, and trouble the water, stir it up, and the first person in would get a healing. So you can imagine, people are like wanting to be the first one in. And there's a guy who can't walk, who's laying right there. And Jesus, the master teacher, comes by and says, why are you still here after all this time? Evidently, he'd been there long enough to set up a concession stand and sell souvenirs. And so Jesus, he said, why are you still here? And he said, well, I can't walk and I can't get in the water fast enough. I can't get in the water fast. Somebody always, and this is my wound, somebody's always ahead of me. Somebody's always in front of me. Somebody's always getting my good. And the master teacher said, pick up your bed and walk. That's what we all have to do. Come down off the cross. We need the wood. There's something else. Okay. And the question is, would thou be made whole? Do you really want to be well? Because being well means I no longer have any conflict. At least conflict that I can't resolve. That's what it means. It means I can resolve this. I'm getting past this. I might have a pain, I move past it. I might have an ache, I move past it. Something happens, I move past it. Right now I know look at me, see? I'm in consciousness now. I'm no longer in the human side of myself that wakes up and doesn't remember who he is. Whenever I don't feel good, if I stand here and start talking, consciousness flowing through me, I always feel better. On my deathbed, I'm going to say, just get me in front of on the platform. I think I can squeak out a couple of more days. Do you want to be well? Are you tired of being angry? Because being well doesn't mean I don't have anger. It means I know what to do with my anger. I bring it into consciousness. Are you tired of being afraid? Being whole, being conscious doesn't mean I don't have fear. It means I know what to do with the fear when I'm experiencing it. Lack, limitation, pettiness. Some of y'all don't have petty as an issue. I do. Yeah, I'm not the only one. We're not the only ones. We're just the ones who will admit it.
Good at it.
She said, I'm good at it. I can't allow myself to be good at it. See, because now this is the problem when you studied. If you keep studying, you get to a place where you can no longer act the way you used to act. I can't do it anymore. In the 12-step program, my brother, who when he's got like 35, 40 years clean and sober on, he used to tell me that the only way, he says, when the pain of using, outweighs the pain, when the pain of using outweighs the pain, I'm getting it backwards. When the pain of not using outweighs the pain of using. Talking about what makes you stop. There's a paradigm here. Outweighs the pain of not using. You see what I'm saying? Because there's a pain for an addict to not use. Okay? It's hard to stop using. And he's saying, yes, it's hard to stop using. But at some point, the pain of using is greater than the pain of not using. And Michael said, you're pushed by the pain until you're pulled by the vision. And I'm asking us to consider the vision right now. And the vision happens in that quiet place. The vision happens in that still place. The vision happens in that listening place. The vision is not a thinking process. It's a listening process. As we're evolving a new male and a new father who recognizes that listening is the strongest gift and the strongest tool and the strongest, most effective discipline I can teach my child. Because if I teach my child how to listen, that will be the buoyancy that keeps them going and keeps them afloat through the storm-tossed seas of life. Because sometimes you just can't row fast enough. Sometimes the boat's taking on too much water. Yes? God is good, yes? I got to tell you, something happened during this talk for me, and I realized I have a father wound workshop coming up. And I'm going to be doing this around the world, I'm sure. And I started earlier today. It's going to have to get fleshed out. But I've been doing, there was a time inner child workshops were really big. I did a lot of them. And we quit doing them for some reason. I think the guy that was doing them got into some kind of situation and he quit doing them. Nobody picked it up again. Didn't know how to duplicate the thing. But we need this work. We need work that connects us. When people are feeling disjointed and splintered and they're out there raging because they don't have a solution besides their rage. Okay, that's why people rage. They don't have a solution beyond the fear, beyond the rage. And if I didn't have one beyond, I would be there too. But I do have a solution beyond that now. Each of us does. We wouldn't have come in this room if we didn't have that solution. Consciousness brings us together and grows us together and seeds us at the same time so we can pollinate the world with consciousness. So we surrender to the process of that pollination. I can't be mad at the insects that are flying on me, collecting my nectar and my honey. Give me back my nectar and my honey. No. It's not here for me. The love is not mine. I don't own it. It's coming through me, in me, and as me to be shared in the world as me, as the oneness. It is the oneness operating through me that I think love is. It is the oneness operating through me that the connection is. I am the oneness personified. Just as the wave exists by the collective power of the universe, Brother Ishmael, by the collective power of the ocean, Brother Ishmael says, I exist, we exist by the collective power of the entire universe. That includes Trump, Biden, Harris, Who was it? Lester Maddox, you know, Farrakhan, Elon Musk, Bobby Seale, Kathleen Klaver, whoever you want to put in there. It's all God expressing. And that realization, that understanding is the healing that we need, the healing we're looking for, and the healing that's happening right now. If you have the right answer to the question, would thou be made whole? Would thou be made whole? Thank you. God bless. This is time for offering.
It is.
And offering comes from a place of wholeness too. Everything is happening in wholeness. Please know that we accept and we're grateful for every gift, all the offering that we receive. We use it to send this idea out. I keep thinking I'm using the wrong way. Propagate this idea out into the world. And we tie it to our home office, and we have centers like this around the world. I think there's over 400 of them now. I know that in Accra, Ghana, or I think it's in Cape Coast, they're starting another one just now. So it's not just for this center, it's for centers this kind. We're around the world. We're affecting this idea. But yes, we also use it here. Yes, we have opportunities to use it here, and we're grateful for it and all of its forms. But please know, it's a spiritual practice. It's a spiritual practice where we open ourselves to the divine flow, recognizes that my needs are always being met. And the divine is flowing through me. And so we practice flow with our financial situation, just like we practice this in love or anything else. And so David is coming forward with the offering basket, and as he's coming forward, we can repeat the offering affirmation after me, please. From a consciousness of abundance.
From a consciousness of abundance.
And centered in gratitude.
And centered in gratitude.
I generously give.
I generously give.
I accept the gifts.
I accept the gifts.
Of prosperity and abundance.
Of prosperity and abundance.
As I demonstrate.
As I demonstrate.
Divine circulation in my life.
Divine circulation in my life.
In gratitude I freely give.
In gratitude I freely give.
In grateful acceptance I freely receive.
In grateful acceptance I receive. And so it is.
So it is.
For those giving online, the address is give@sfcsl.org. And that's PayPal and Zelle. Thank you. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering.
Giving thanks and praise for the offering received, we gratefully accept and give thanks. And so it is.
So it is.
Congratulations. Please go on. Every time, babe.
And remaining in the consciousness of oneness and wholeness, I invite each one of us to bring forward in our memory, to bring forward in our consciousness anything that is being called to heal. Father wound, mother wound, woundedness in any capacity. Just bring it forward. Let it gently rest in your heart space. And know that as I speak the words in prayer, using first person, because there is only one of us here, that I'm inviting each one of us to know that the words I speak in I are the words spoken for all beings everywhere. And so in this moment of awareness, in this particular space, I stand rooted in a deep knowing that there is one life being lived everywhere. One breath being breathed as my breath. One heart being beaten as my heartbeat, in rhythm and in synchronicity with all life kind. This is what we call God, what we call the presence and the power and the divine creator of all existence. God. God, continuously loving itself into existence, causing all waters to flow, rooting all trees, bringing the heights of the mountains, and blanketing the sky by day and by night. This divine creator has given birth of itself in me and as me. And what is true for me is true for all beings everywhere. One life, one power, one presence. And so I know in this moment that as I am one with all that has birthed existence, I am one with the power to heal anything and everything that is in my life right now, calling to be nurtured, calling to be surrendered, calling to be healed. And I hear that voice, and that voice is sweet and lovely and powerful. That voice overrides the siren's song of separation. And I do not yield to that seduction. I am so solidly rooted in a consciousness of wholeness, a consciousness of oneness, a consciousness of allness. That everything unlike love, unlike peace, unlike joy is dissolved in my life back into the no thing from which it emerged, an illusion. And in its place, I stand in spiritual truth and deep knowing that everything seeking resolution in my life is healed. Within my body, within my mind, within my spirit. And the consciousness of wholeness is a full circle of embrace of my being. So that healing is activated this moment, moving through every aspect of my body, every cell, every organ, every fiber, every tissue. And there is a fire ignited within me, bringing forth the truth in which I stand. It's a mighty flow of water, and I am immersed in its sweetness. God is, I am, and all is well in my life. And this is the knowing. This is the knowing in the loud times. This is the knowing in the quiet times. This is the knowing in the moments of pain and tears. And this is my knowing in joy and in laughter, harmony and peace. Be still and know that I am one, that I am God, that I am here, and all is well. And so in gratitude for this truth, in deep thanksgiving for this knowing, I release this word. I surrender this prayer, knowing that it unites with all prayers everywhere, and that it finds its home in the law of perfect manifestation and comes forth easily, effortlessly, in joy and peace. And so it is. Amen. Ashe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Announcements.
Oh, that's right. There are a few.
Yes. This Wednesday is our second, well, there's a core council meeting
Yeah.
on Zoom.
Yes, and the address for it, the Zoom ID, will be put on the Facebook page and in the newsletter so that you can join, because the core council meetings are open meetings for everyone. We have agreed for now to half the time they will be online. Every other meeting will be present here at the center, and you're also welcome to join that. So on Facebook and it's a different one. I'll get it to you, Eve, and then you can put it out there. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
So we're very excited about the core council. Yeah, and we have a lot of us here today. So
Yeah.
Eileen is on the core council, as is Nikki, as is Reverend Muwata, John, and myself.
Daniel.
And we don't have Daniel here because he's on his honeymoon in Jamaica. I'm telling you, priorities. So I believe his boxing class is also going to be delayed for a little bit because
Yeah.
they're going to be in Jamaica for, I think, 10 days,
Oh,
12
they went
days,
Jamaica, cool.
something like that. So really lovely. And boy, do they know how to put on weddings.
Yes.
So it was fun. And so I guess another announcement is that we are in the process of moving forward with different activities for our
Yes.
center. I know that Cindy and someone else have been really carrying the torch of getting game night going. We've been talking about Friday night films coming back, and then because several of us were at the wedding and we were all dancing and we're on the dance floor together, and then it occurred, Thomas was there, Reverend Muwata, Eileen again, Crystal, Eve, right, and people, Michelle, and we're all out there dancing, and we realized, we looking at each other like, we've never seen each other dance, because we used to have dance parties here, right?
Long
So
time
it
ago.
was occurring to me, John, that the playlist, we've got a great R&B playlist. Maybe we should ask some young people to contribute some other music too, because there's different music. What's that? Swing, yeah, and swing music was played last night too. So at any rate, we are looking to increase those activities, and there is a sign-up sheet in the back if you are interested in helping to be a part of uplifting our circle of being able to do different things together, even outside of a Sunday. I love that idea. So that's one. I think Daniel's boxing, I mentioned, is on hold for a little bit because he's in Jamaica, and so that's the case. What else? There was something else that I wanted to...
A lot of sign-up
Oh,
sheets.
Eve's
yeah.
going away. She's a traveler, too. She's going away, and so there's an opportunity to staff, I don't want to say man, what?
Anchor.
Anchor. Thank you. That's a word I usually say.
I know, you're the one.
I know.
You lost your
so
own word.
anchor the media ministry over there, and I know that Charlotte has done it, Nikki has
AJ.
done it, AJ has done it, lots of people. Is it easy to do? It's easy to do, so a little bit. Somebody will help you to learn what to do, so it's not that complicated for sure. I am forgetting something. I'm sure I'm going to remember it the minute I sit down, but that's okay.
Well, I have a
That's the way that
concert
is.
coming up
Oh, yes. Well,
next
please, tell us.
Saturday. I'm doing a sound bath deep dive with my friend Daniel Berkman, 7 o'clock. Eve put it in the newsletter, so it's out there if you get that already. 7 o'clock in San Rafael next Saturday. I was going to make a joke. It's the first day of winter. It feels like
Well,
that
that's
here.
good.
No, it's summer. It's solstice, yeah.
Okay.
But it's going to be a very
winter.
relaxing hour, just very chill.
And
different
where is it
instrument.
again? Say it
At the
again.
First Presbyterian Church, San Rafael. It's downtown San Rafael.
And the time?
All the addresses on the flyer, which is in the newsletter.
Okay.
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Eve. It's on my. Well, we'll talk after about that.
Yeah. And if you've heard the two of them together, it's really
Yeah.
very beautiful.
There's an African
sure.
harp, a kora he plays, and a Chinese kujin harp he's
Wow.
playing.
Okay. So
And
lots
I'm
of
doing
different-
the big piano and other electronic sound bath kind of deep dive stuff. Very chill. The intention is to just create a relaxing.
I like it already. I'm feeling it already.
21st of June.
For sure.
Thank you.
7
7 p.m.
7 p.m. So I did remember, and that was to say that Reverend Muwata has mentioned being pushed by the pain until you're pulled by the vision, and how important it is to listen and to surrender to what we're hearing as well, to embody it, to become what we're hearing. And that is the work of visioning. Daniel is our new Vision Corps coordinator. And once again, because he's in Jamaica, he will not, I'm like, in Jamaica, really? You know, beautiful, I'm so happy for them. Because he's in Jamaica, we don't have a date yet for when he's going to start the Vision Corps meetings. As soon as he's back, he's going to get that organized. Please be on the lookout for that. I cannot tell you how powerful visioning is in our individual lives, but also in our collective lives as a center. When Daniel and I did the workshop a couple weeks ago, you know, we talked about if you have 5 people in a room, there's 8 opinions. And Reverend Muwata talked today about thinking and letting go of thinking. Visioning calls us to that process. It is an actual spiritual practice and tool that allows us to let go of thinking. Because he didn't say this, but I believe thinking has a tremendous amount to do with control.
Oh, yeah.
We're typically thinking of a solution. We're typically thinking of how I can, you know, be prepared. Yeah, it's about control. And so that is so antithetical to a consciousness of wholeness and deep listening, where you're allowing your intuition, which is alignment with God, to guide you. And that is about surrender. Thinking, surrender. So I can't encourage you enough to be on the lookout for when the Visioning Corps is going to begin to meet. Okay. Last announcement from me is that at the close of service, if you are wanting prayer, please come fetch me right away, because it's also Father's Day. I think we're scooting over to the East Bay, I'm not sure, to connect with a couple of our children who are in the East Bay. And lastly, I just want to thank everybody for being present, for choosing to be here. I'm gazing at people who I know are fathers. I'm also gazing at people who I know have nurtured and seeded life, who may not technically be a father biologically, but are no less a father, because it is about a consciousness of embracing with strength. Strength. And I am so grateful to my father, who has passed many years ago. To the Brunos, for our garden and all that you do, for the Mashburns, because you're the Mashburns, because you all do so much as well. To everybody, to Eve, thank you so much for everything that you do and give, for John, for certain. And I want to thank people who bring beautiful children and beautiful dogs. Yes, she knows I'm talking about her. She's like, you, Yasha, thank you for being here. And because you remind us of how beautiful life is in all of its forms, and the innocence that children bring to us, uninhibited joy and spirit. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about it. Bring children, find a child and bring them here. And then also, no less about cats. I always have to say this because the cat people slam me. Cats, but dogs. Nobody loves you like a dog. Dogs are amazing. Anyway, I have talked long enough. John, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to sing Holy is the I Am. I'm going to sing the original words, which I never usually do it. I'm reading them now. They kind of go along with Father's Day a little bit. It's just a few different changes, but you'll hear it. The first one's obviously holy. Holy, 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 holy is the I am. Holy, yes, I am. Second one is blessed. Blessed are we, strong and mighty. Holy is the I am. Blessed are we, strong and mighty. It's something like that. Blessed are we, strong and mighty. Holy is the I am. Holy, yes, I am. The third one is filled with glory, comfort, and mercy. That's beautiful. Filled with glory, comfort, and mercy. Holy is the I am. Holy, yes, I am. And the last one is precious, which we know. Precious, 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 precious is the I am. Precious, yes, I am. Thanks. That was nice, different words. All right.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Gratefully, humbly, speaking our benediction today, I'm grateful to be the minister here, the spiritual community leader here. I'm humbled. I saw a sign the other day saying, in order to be humble, you have to be humbled. And so you all humble me, and I'm grateful. You hold me in my weaknesses, and you see me when I'm afraid to be seen, and you love me in spite of myself. And I'm very, very grateful to be a member of this community. What's that song? It feels so good, pity love so bad. You guys really bring it, and I'm very grateful. So you can, we're going to our benediction knowing that we leave here today with a divine understanding of wholeness, the realization of oneness, that we are one with all beings, every circumstance, every situation, every memory, every anticipation. It all fades into God. It all flows from the divine. Being one with the infinite indwelling and self-existent, when I recognize myself in every circumstance, in every situation, and I say, yes, I give him thanks and praise for all things. I bless all things and bless all beings. And what's true for me is true for each and every one of us. And therefore, each of us, we know it. We can say it together. The light of God surrounds me.
The light of God surrounds me.
The love of God enfolds me.
The love of God enfolds me.
The power of God protects and watches over me.
The power of God protects and watches over me.
The wisdom of God guides and directs me.
The wisdom of God guides and directs me.
The substance of God supplies, supports, and sustains me.
The substance of God supplies, supports, and sustains me.
Wherever I am,
Wherever I am,
wherever I go,
wherever I go,
whatever I think, whatever I say, whatever I do,
whatever I think, whatever I say, whatever I do,
God is. And all is well.
and all is well.
And so it is. Thank you, thank you. God
Let's
bless
gather in a circle and we'll sing I Am the Place Where God Shows Up. Everybody's in the back and moving forward. There we go. I am the place where
God is, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up.
I am the place where
God is, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up.
we are
The place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. We are the place where God shows up.
You are the place
You are the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. You are the place where God shows up.
I am the place where God lives,
Moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. And left over from Daniel's wedding.
We didn't heat it up though.
It's not heated up. They heated up their own food.